I'm here with Karthryn Corrick and John Farrington, who've just been in the session about interconnected society. Can you give me some of the themes which emerged from that?
I think one of the main themes that emerged in discussion was the role of government in comparison with the role of, say, local authority, local communities, individuals, and where the action should take place. Also, really about two issues. One is connection, but there's a much bigger issue than only connection, and that, of course, is the services and the use that's made of that. I think a particularly interesting point was that people will connect and make use of connection if it serves a purpose that they want. And through that, you get into other areas. So they might get together for a particular issue, like a green or waste issue in a local borough. But then they will use that capacity, both technical and social, to do other things.
So the technology produces some social triggers, not just communication connections.
Absolutely, it produces new capacities, and they then can feed back into new use of technology. And I think that's really quite exciting.
And Karthryn, were you hearing anything different from this discussion, or is it similar sort of discussions that's been going on for the last few years?
In some ways, there's bits of both. So one of the things I think that came out in the group that I was with is the importance of time. And sometimes, actually, time is a divide as much as other factors that we've traditionally thought of. So, for example, a doctor who doesn't have much time to learn about new skills, it could be equally excluded as someone who maybe has time but maybe doesn't have the right technology or the other factors that go to digital divide. So that was one of the interesting things that came out. But also there was almost the side of we're forgetting about mobile, and how in the Digital Britain report there wasn't much that related to mobile and other technologies of how people connect with each other and also onto the web. So we've got games consoles, the importance of television, but also mobile itself, and how we need to make sure that we're considering those factors as well as just the sort of our traditional PC web-based factors when we're thinking about connectedness in society.
And John, you're from the Rural Digital Economy Hub, and we know rural areas have particular challenges, and many people are very vocal in their demands, quite rightly, for better connectivity. Do you think they're getting anywhere with the government?
I suppose the short answer is you must ask the government. I think there is a recognition of that, certainly in the devolved administration. So I'm reasonably familiar with the Scottish context, the Welsh context also, I know. Those devolved administrations are taking it pretty seriously, simply because such large parts of their political constituency are rural in any case. But don't forget that in England, large numbers of political constituents are rural. Inevitably, it's a lower proportion, it's a lower number. The numbers are smaller, the distances are greater. The divides are compounded. You mentioned divides, and time is one. Rural-urban is another. But, it's not the only one. I think if I just broaden your question a little, we talked quite a lot about divides, and I think it's important to recognise the different nature of these. I think we enumerated probably 10, and we can think of this in different ways. So rural is just one. An interesting comment from one of the industry representatives was, well, we don't have all the utilities in all parts of our community anyway. Some people don't have water, mains water, for example. So why should broadband connection be any different? That's an interesting question. And whether we treat it as a fourth utility, whether we treat it as a legal requirement for rural areas, such as Finland have just done, those are some issues that were raised.